Hey everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Room, where we talk all things comics and movies. This is episode number 40, where in celebration of Batman Day, we're going to be discussing Batman.
Woo!
I'm your host, Tim.
I'm Sunjay.
I'm Batman. No, I'm Troy.
There it is, that voice, that deep.
Yeah, it's a nice throaty voice,
Yeah.
you know. I can't pull it off. Mine just sounds like Adam West, like on helium. I'm Batman.
Right off the top here, I wanted to give a shout out to our new podcast that's dropping next week.
That's right.
So this is our Star Wars Rebels Alert podcast. So we finally have a title for it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Nice.
Yes, exciting. So Rebels drops this weekend, 8:30 on Disney XD. We were going to be doing an after show, a weekly after show, discussing the fallout from all of the episodes of Rebels. And yeah, we're really excited to get this going.
Can't wait.
Nice.
I mean, if you guys can't get enough of us talking about Star Wars already,
Yeah,
be sure to tune in to Rebels Alert.
I'll be there as
Oh.
long as I get to do the theme song.
For sure.
Yes.
Sure.
so make sure to follow us. We are at SW Rebels Alert on Twitter, and we also have a Facebook page. And just a reminder, this will be dropping on the Nerd Room, Podbean, and iTunes feed. So no need to go to a new separate podcast. It's going to be there in the same feed, just coming out a few days earlier than our normal Nerd Room podcast.
So guys, you know, I'm really excited for your podcast. I'll be the first one to listen, and I'll be there if you guys need like a roadie or someone to set up the equipment. Just give me a holler, and I'll be there.
Nice.
So this weekend, you know, we live in Calgary, and so me and the wifey, you know, took a trip up to Canmore. Beautiful city. While we were there, I discovered what might quite possibly be the last video rental store in southern Alberta. Avalanche Video. It was like I was in heaven. Like, I've never been to a video rental store for the last 5 years. Oh, it was awesome. It just brought me right back, guys. Like,
Did they have video games?
they had video games. They had Super Nintendo games, Sega Genesis games. I even saw a copy of Shaq Fu there.
Shaq Fu?
Shaq Fu.
The fighting game?
The fighting game. I had a copy growing up, but they tried to make a Kobe Fu, but it just wouldn't take off.
Kobe 64, man.
So guys, you know, it's not too late. The video rental store lives again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because
Yeah.
for those of you that are new to the podcast, Sunjay here is yet to embrace the digital era and
Boo.
refuses to.
Hey, Netflix, I'm taking you on. I don't think it's going to last. I think it's just a fad, guys.
Yes, iTunes and all that. Yes.
So
Yeah.
you like Netflix when it's on the CD as opposed to
Yeah,
streaming
they-
device?
I mail it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only get 3 a month, so.
Yeah, he's still sending that check to Netflix, hoping to get a DVD in the mail back.
Still has a Blockbuster card.
Yeah. Oh, I wish.
We still have Blockbuster videos. We're the
Oh,
prime reason why
man.
they went out of business. People like
Yeah.
myself and my wife, who I got VHSs that says Blockbuster on the
Yeah.
other side.
Oh,
Still.
so cool. Those are collector's items, man.
They're also stolen.
Well, you know, they're bankrupt, so they can't afford to hire a lawyer, but I'm telling you, if you had like a Blockbuster copy of Star Wars or something, that'd go for a pretty penny, I bet you, in the open market. I just made that up. I don't know.
Interesting.
I hope so. I don't know. I'm just living the dream. One day, Blockbuster will make its glorious return.
Unless it comes back in a digital format like Blockbuster Netflix.
I think it is
Exactly.
already in the States. Like, Blockbuster has like a digital format that's just not catching on.
But it's such a saturated market right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's dominated by Netflix. And the fact, too, that they have, like we discussed last week, their own content now. And then you're getting all these networks doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Blockbuster missed their opportunity to go digital. They
Oh, yeah.
had the market cornered, and they just didn't take on what Netflix did. It went and evolved into more of a digital format.
All right, so news. Hit me up.
We have a whole podcast discussing Star Wars, so are we still allowed to talk Star Wars here? Of course we
Let's
are.
do it.
Yeah,
Always.
of course. Who's gonna say anything besides me?
Well, I read the outline, so I... Anyways, Rogue One. So we had a little bit of news coming out of there. So we discussed a couple weeks ago the Force Friday, which is next Friday. So you guys are hearing this on Thursday. A week and a day, we'll be waiting in line at Toys R Us for our first look at the Force Friday, Rogue One, Rogue Friday, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
action figures.
Nice.
And we speculated a bit about the Funko Pops that were coming in the Smugglers Bounty Funko Collector's case. And it looks like we're getting a Jyn Erso
Nice.
with mountain gear. So nice variant there. And also a Death Trooper variant as well.
Gotta have the Death Trooper, right?
Yes.
Oh, of
So
Nice.
course.
Yeah.
I think one of 3 iterations of the Death Trooper. I think this one has a gun in its hand.
Oh, okay.
So slightly exclusive. Not as much as I had hoping for. Like, there's a chrome one out there that looks pretty cool. But it is nice to see that they announced the Smugglers Bounty. So that's something that I get every month. And now that I'm moving, I have to send it to Troy's house. So I don't know if I'll ever see it again.
So what's the difference between a stormtrooper and a death trooper?
Well, stormtroopers are like the white costume.
The classic looking.
Yeah,
The classic looking from the original trilogy.
Yep.
They are quite clumsy.
Okay, yeah.
They can't aim.
No.
Okay,
Great
so
poor shots.
Infantry, like, the guys at Civil War who had, like, the drums and the trumpets.
Yeah, they're like the frontline guys.
Yeah,
Because they just kind of send. And the Death Troopers are more like your, for lack of a better comparison, your Hitler SS squad.
Okay.
They're your death squad. They're your elite soldiers. And they seem to be under the command of this director, Krennic. The idea, the concept of a black hole stormtrooper or a death trooper comes from the old extended universe, the now Legends universe. And that was something that's quite popular. So there's a lot of toy iterations. There's hot toys of black hole stormtroopers from the past, which are just basically black painted stormtroopers. But now these have evolved quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different masks and that. So it's pretty cool. They can have the green lenses, which makes them quite kind of ominous looking. Yeah.
Cool.
They should have one of every color, like a rainbow stormtroopers, like the Green Lantern rings.
Yeah. Or like a Daft Punk trooper.
Like a Daft Punk, that'd be amazing.
It's one of those things in the Star Wars universe too, where each movie has the introduction of a different type of stormtrooper. So the original trilogy, we had your bulk standard stormtrooper, and then you have your snow trooper in Empire, your scout trooper in Return of the Jedi, then the clones
Yes.
in the prequel trilogy,
Of course.
and now you're with Force Awakens. You had the different type of stormtrooper,
Phasma.
and you also had the different snow troopers introduced there.
The Flames as well. Right?
Yeah, Flame Troopers. Yeah. And Rogue One, now you have these what are called Scarif Troopers, Death Troopers. So it's really cool to see the evolution, how they're able to, each different movie pull in a different type of stormtrooper. Also dropping in a few weeks, November 15th is the Rogue One prelude book called Catalyst.
Yes.
And they released a short synopsis. So I'm not going to read it out because there's some slight spoilers in there. But I'm going to summarize it here in the next couple sentences. It's focused around Galen Erso, which is Mad Mikkelsen's character in The Father of Jyn Erso. And it goes through his relationship with director Krennic and the development of the ultimate super weapon. That's all that's kind of really in there. That's the summary. There's some more detail in there, but won't go into it. But it looks really exciting. It looks like a must-read before Rogue One. And being that it comes out a month before Rogue One, it's got to get your hands on it. I think it's about 300 pages. So it'll take a little bit of time, audiobook, a little bit of time to read through, but I think it's going to be worth a good read prior to going into Rogue One. Just for that little added bit of universe before you go in.
I can't wait. I'm wondering if they're going to touch on Attack of the Clones a little bit, because watching back Attack of the Clones, you actually do see the blueprint design of the Death Star. So I wonder if it goes that far back that these two were in talks of the Death Star.
Well, yeah, because in Revenge of the Sith, at the very end, the Emperor and Vader are looking up at the shell of the Death Star.
Exactly.
Spoiler alert, people.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Last thing here. Star Wars issue number 26 of the comic series by Jason Aaron. This thing is incredible.
Yeah.
If you're not reading this and you're a Star Wars fan, I don't know what you've been doing for the last year or so. Get into it. Because what they do in this series in particular is every 10 issues or so, they step back and Luke has his journal of Obi-Wan's and they do a story where Luke is reading a story told from the perspective of Obi-Wan, and it plays out that story using Obi-Wan as the focal point in that comic. So we're going back and revisiting Obi-Wan stories while he's on Tatooine post Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And what they're doing with issue number 26 is they're going back and telling a Yoda story.
Ooh.
A pre-Phantom Menace Yoda story with Jason Aaron promising an appearance of a younger Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, man.
So it's the first time we're stepping outside of the boundaries of the films in this new canonical Star Wars universe. And I'm really excited to see what they do. I don't know how far back they're going, if they're doing more of an origin story, or if it's just purely going to be some sort of Yoda adventure.
Yeah.
But the image that they did post on StarWars.com had him holding a lightsaber facing a group of adversaries.
Yoda.
Yes.
He had the green lightsaber?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He might be like 500, 600 years old.
Yeah, something like that. You never know. You never know.
So here's my thing about Yoda. Okay, so I watched, growing up, I heard a lot about Star Wars. Yoda, always mentioned all the time. So I was like, okay, this guy must be in Star Wars a lot. He's like, what, 12 minutes of screen time for the first 3 movies?
But some really significant screen
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like Boba Fett, right?
Yeah, that's another thing too.
Right.
You always hear about Boba Fett, barely in it. Same with Jabba the Hutt. Growing up, I always tell you the Star Wars people, always heard about them, so I expected them to be like, good, solid. Like
He's a Jedi Master, though, right? Yoda. He's a Jedi Master.
Yeah.
Master of all, right? So
It's true. No, I mean, I heard
it's a big deal.
He's more in the prequels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a big significant part in the prequels. Oh, yeah. He's played out right through there. You see a lot more of his evolution of character and that. And we never really saw Yoda as a fighting Jedi in the original trilogy.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and going back, particularly in Attack of the Clones, where you do see him pull that lightsaber. And it's an incredible scene. And it gets a bit kind of CG there.
Yeah.
So the issue with Yoda in that time frame between A New Hope and Empire is that he's just chilling on Dagobah.
Yeah.
So there's not much you can really do with him. And like we were talking about before the podcast, Troy brought up a good point that it seems that he's always been there. He never went off world to do some other mission or something like that. He's just been there meditating, isolated, in exile, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be really cool to see what they have in store for Yoda pre-Phantom Menace. So this drops in December at some point. I'm not sure the exact release date, but look out for that because that's an awesome story that
I'm looking forward
Marvel
to that.
Comics. Yeah.
They're killing the game right now.
Star Wars, right?
It's so good, but it's interesting because with Vader closing at 25. Have they made any announcements about Star Wars ending at 20? Well, I guess
it's going on. I think they're going to carry this book through. I'm not sure why they're ending Star Wars or
Vader.
I'm not sure why they're ending Vader.
Yeah.
So let's see what they have because they're clearly not going to let this drop because these are huge sellers for Marvel,
big time.
Particularly at a time where they're getting absolutely crushed by DC.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of that's the rebirth, but yeah, I mean Star Wars sells huge, so they're going to keep that stuff going for a long time.
So sticking with Marvel, the Civil War Blu-ray came out this past week.
Well, the Steelbook. Let's all.
Well, they all came out, but the Steelbook is what we all picked up.
Oh yeah. Is this the first Steelbook that all three of us bought?
Force Awakens.
Yeah, I got Force Awakens Steelbook.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah.
Nice. What covers do you guys have?
I have the bad guy, Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
I have the Kylo Ren as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you?
Yeah, Kylo Ren.
Okay, that actually was on the Best Buy, like at the store. I just came in after work, and then it was just like the last copy. I just happened to get it. So.
What do you guys think of the cover of this one?
Oh my goodness!
Loved
Civil
it.
War.
This was an incredible cover.
Yeah, with the shield and the Iron Man mask kind of split in half, and you got the embossed case at the front with the rift in it.
Yeah.
And you flip around on the back, and you got the reflective image straight
sick.
out of issue number 7. Just gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
So good.
My one nitpick is I wish the Iron Man helmet was a little bit bigger compared to the Cap shield, but other than that, it's flawless. The inside with the airport scene, it's magnificent.
Yes, it's good stuff. So did you have a chance to check out the content on it?
Yes, I did. I checked out United We Stand, Divided We Fall.
Yes,
Making
making
Civil
of.
War.
Yeah.
Nice.
This, I'm telling you guys right now, like I've mentioned it before, in my opinion, when it comes to bonus content, I feel the prequels, Star Wars holds it down.
Really?
They give you a lot of content, but this right here, in my opinion, rivals it. I think you can get some really good bonus content in this Blu-ray. It's incredible, man. I love it. The fight coordinator, James Young? The guy that does the choreography, I should say. He's done Winter Soldier. He's done Guardians of the Galaxy. Even G.I. Joe. Say what you want about that movie. But the fight scenes are pretty cool.
Were cool, yeah.
So this guy knows his stuff, and I loved what we got out of this.
Oh, yeah.
And my big takeaway from this was when I'm watching it, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh my God, the writers, the directors, the characters, the actors, they're all thinking what we're thinking.
Exactly.
When we're worrying about why Ant-Man is on Cap's team and why Black Panther is on Iron Man team, they're worrying about the same thing and trying to explain it in movie.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And these guys are talking about Infinity War and the implications for what happens in Civil War for the other Marvel movies. So it's all lining up. It's just not these isolated movies being constructed. They are concerned with everything else that's going on. And it's fantastic to see something that you care so much about and something you have so much invested in, that they have that same investment. Yes, it's their job and all that, but at the same time, we've seen directors and all that take things and go sideways and do their own thing in isolation, and then coming out the other side, you're kind of like, well, this doesn't really fit the universe. X-Men.
I thought for a second there you were going to rag on Zack Snyder. I was like, just leave the man alone, okay?
Well, he has some form of continuity in his brain. You know, it might not completely always work, but he hasn't gone and like ripped apart a universe and made no sense out of it.
Yeah.
At least he's kept consistent, and he's directed all the movies. But at Marvel, they've got a crew in the background that are really excited for these movies. And when I watch this, I get even more excited. The fact that, too, they're talking about, you know, the concept of We didn't want a superpowered villain. We didn't want them to have to come together at the end of the movie and be like, rah, 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 Avengers assemble, we're all back together. Yeah. No, they wanted this to be a fragmentation story where they, at the end of the movie, the Avengers are in pieces, disassembled, if you will. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what it is. And when I hear these guys talking about Infinity War, as they're filming Civil War, I'm thinking, like, these guys are thinking 3-4 years out of what they do in these movies and how that affects their story further on. And I think it's just great to see.
Absolutely agree.
It's one of the best movies this year. I mean, I had such a fun time at the theater, and I can't wait to watch it again. I love this movie. I think it's one of the best Marvel movies that they've ever done. I have it just below Winter Soldier, but yeah, as Tim said, like, you could definitely see the seeds being planted, where it's a nice lineage for the Captain America trilogy, where you started off, you have Cap, and it's just a straight up Cap film. And you have the Winter Soldier, where, you know, it's like the spy espionage thriller with Winter Soldier thrown in there. And then you have Civil War, where it's kind of like this huge, expansive universe. So,
kind of the payoff, too.
Yeah. Very few trilogies. The third one is considered the best. And this one here, you could argue that the third one is the best in the Cap trilogy.
Yeah. And there's always this theme of escalation within the Cap series itself. You go from an origin story to something even bigger, involving more characters, to eventually a more or less an Avengers movie, but with a self-contained Cap story in it. And it feels like a Cap story.
Yes.
These feel like Cap movies all the way through, even though you're introducing Falcon and you have Black Widow in there, and Civil War you have the whole Avengers crew, and you're playing with a antagonist, if you will, Iron Man, and you have in the background Hydra still kind of floating around there, and these concepts and these threads that they pull through this whole series of movies, stemming right back and answering and getting your payoff for Bucky in Civil War that was seeded all the way back in 2011 in the original Cap series, right? And the fact that they've kept consistent actors all the way through, and they've just, you know, really put together a narrative that makes sense for Captain America. We have a beginning, a middle, and somewhat of an end for a Cap story. If you were to package this up and you have Cap at the end there walking, smiling, and yes, that is sending us off into a new Avengers realm, and you get an open-ended trilogy there, essentially. But at the same time, I feel like there's some closure to that story, to the Bucky story, even though he ends up on ice. But I felt that they concluded that series properly, and I'm ready for the next set of movies to come out of that.
Exactly. Marvel did such a good job of this, right? I mean, you look back at Guardians, a movie like Guardians really should have failed. I mean, you know, a talking tree, a talking raccoon, you know, it's kind of crazy, and they still pull it off, and they do such a good job. And in this movie, the stakes were so high. They got Spider-Man in there, they introduced Black Panther, they even bring back General Ross from Incredible Hulk. They do such a good job of handling their characters, it just blows my mind. So.
And that's usually a movie that they try to somewhat ignore because of the issues with Edward Norton.
Exactly.
And the fact that they're willing to come full circle, they had that end credit scene with General Ross and Tony Stark, so they did have history, and they played off of that.
Yes.
And bringing that back around and saying, no, like, the Hulk is part of this universe. That movie is part of this universe, even though we're going to push it aside somewhat, and we're not really going to show any scenes from it ever.
So. You know, we may never get Iron Man 4, depending on...
I think we will now.
You think we will now?
I think we will now.
Okay.
You listen to Tony Stark on this making of.
Yes.
He sits there and says, they're letting me have leeway with this character. I have creative input into this character. I think that's why you're seeing him show up in Spider-Man.
Yes.
And I would not doubt that he becomes this thread, this Nick Fury that shows up continually in other movies.
Yeah.
And maybe not even in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
Like, you might not even get that in Spider-Man. He might just be a mentor figure for Peter Parker, which he was more or less in Civil War. And him showing up and doing recruiting or something to that effect leading into Infinity War, I think he's going to be still the main character in Infinity War.
Definitely agree.
Oh, for sure. He's the most popular character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean...
He's rivaled by Cap now, I think.
I would say so.
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at the box office grosses between Iron Man and Cap, Iron Man, you know, his movies are always up there compared to Cap.
Yeah, they are. It's the Iron Man 3 is the big pivotal one. So Iron Man, Iron Man 2 are on par with Winter Soldier and Civil War as far as domestic grosses.
Oh, okay,
But Iron Man 3 had that post-Avengers bump. It was the first movie out of the gate after the massive success of the first Avengers. It's probably the least favored of the Iron Man movies.
I would say so, yes.
I still enjoy it, but it doesn't have that same weight behind it that you did with the first Iron Man. That is clearly the best. That's the trilogy that you saw with diminishing returns. It's still good, and it still seeds a lot, and it took a lot of the weight of the universe and trying to build it up rather quickly. While you're trying to build in Thor and Hulk and Iron Man and all that into one cohesive universe. Iron Man 2 in particular took the burden of building that universe. particularly with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which I still enjoyed. I know a lot of people...
Yeah,
there's a lot of
like
backlash,
too.
but I actually really enjoy Iron Man 2. I really
too.
like Whiplash and the opening scene with the race cars.
That's cool.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely have my issues with it. I mean, the scene when Iron Man pees himself at the party is just a little off with me, but...
Well, that was their attempt to do the demon in a bottle storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They couldn't really broach that the way that was written in the comics, and they kind of tried to touch on it, but yeah, I agree. It was a bit much.
Yeah.
Like, it was fine. Like, you know, it's just, to me, it was just like an average film. Like, I don't hate it, I don't love it, but definitely Iron Man 1 is the high bar of that series.
Definitely.
But when it comes to trilogies, for me, I'm on Cap. I mean,
me too.
Cap 1, 2, and 3, they just get better and better, and then they're so good that you go back to the previous movie and you like that movie even more.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible what they're doing.
I agree. So, you know, if we're lining them up, Iron Man 1, 2, 3 versus Cap 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah.
Just quickly, Iron Man 1 versus Cap 1. Which one do you like better?
I'm probably going to go with Iron Man.
Yeah, Iron Man.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Cap.
Really?
Nice.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm in a Cap mood right now.
Yeah.
You know?
This might not be an opinion I have later on tonight. But it's an opinion I have right now. Just thinking back, and I love the period piece. I know we've
It is
discussed this
great.
before, but yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
We have to do a director's commentary. Not director's commentary, because we didn't direct this movie, but a commentary of Cap First Avenger.
100%. I'd even lay out, let's do a huge retrospective series.
Yes.
For sure.
Let's do it.
Outside of the Nerd Room News Weekly podcast, let's get into a retrospective series and go back and review all these movies.
Absolutely.
Maybe before building into Infinity War. So
Yeah.
we have a couple years yet to build that out, because that's going to take some time to put
That'll
together.
be the first character, and we'll start with Captain America. Captain America, Death Too Soon. Captain America. Captain America, the First Avenger.
You're the
Captain
only one I know that
America,
owns
Winter
all
Soldier.
those.
They're such good films. Like,
I'm a Cap fan, huge Cap fan, and I haven't even touched those.
I didn't know if this was Captain America or Super Dave.
so bad. Okay, so then we have Cap, Winter Soldier, Iron Man 2 quickly.
Winter Soldier.
Oh, Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. And now we have Cap 3, Civil War, and Iron Man 3. Civil War. Yeah, so Cap takes it 2-1.
Yeah, there you go. There's also a few deleted scenes in there. There's 4, to be exact. And I felt 3 of them didn't really have any impact on the movie, but there's one specifically, and it's involving Cap, Winter Soldier, and Falcon.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And we see Captain America drop his shield.
Ooh.
Bucky picks it up, hucks it at War Machine. Falcon catches it, and then throws it back to Cap.
That's sick.
So we have all 3 of these characters touching the shield.
Yeah.
One Falcon in midair having the shield, and then Bucky turns to Cap and says, "I gotta get me one of these."
Yes.
That's awesome.
Oh,
That's a
I love
great
it.
line.
And
so good.
I don't know why they took it out. It seems like maybe it was foreshadowing a bit too heavy-handedly.
Too much on the nose, eh?
Yeah. It's kind of nice. They did that in the original Captain America, where he does pick up the shield at one point and fights with it, as well as Winter Soldier. He picks it up and puts it to his face.
Right.
The shield. So it would have been all 3 movies where Bucky is foreshadowed to have essentially taking up the Captain America mantle.
That's right.
I wish they had kept that in there.
I know. We do see, at least when they do take on, when they tag team Iron Man, they do toss around the shield.
Yeah.
Incredible scene, right?
That's one of that trailer where that scene was released. I watched that 1,000 times.
Right? I love it. And going off of this movie again, like, I don't know, man. I think Robert Downey Jr. needs like an Oscar nom, maybe, because his performance. Yeah, he has some pretty big acting chops in this movie. I've watched it over and over again, and I haven't. It's still early to see, because I haven't seen all the Oscar movies yet, right? But his performance in this movie, I think, is just on another level. They're all good.
Yeah,
he's really believable in this movie.
That would be something that'd be pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool.
I have to agree, and a lot of Robert Downey Jr.'s acting is his ability to talk.
Yes.
But this was emotions that he was expressing with his face.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's because it's in that Iron Man helmet.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has to express all of his emotions using his words as well as his face. And, and when he's fighting the Winter Soldier and he shoots him in the face, that look from the trailer.
Yeah.
And then, the whole, I was your friend.
Yes.
And just the way he's upset at it's so
right.
good.
And
so
even
good.
when General Ross is breaking the news to the Avengers, and he's laying out his line to those guys, and it's like, wow, like, look at this guy go, man.
Yeah.
He's hunting it down. He wants that Oscar by his side.
Well, he might get a Nerdsy, this year.
He has my Nerdsy.
Yeah, Troy is going to join us for our second annual...
Tim C-3PO.
Yeah, the Nerdsies, the second annual. Guys can look forward to that episode. So, I don't know if they touched on this, but when did Iron Patriot turn back into War Machine?
When Iron Man 3 was not well received.
I
like the Iron Patriot costume. It looks pretty sick.
I never liked it. I liked it in the comics. I never actually liked it on the big screen. In the comics, I liked it because it's Norman Osborn carrying the mantle. But
nice.
I never really liked it in the movie. I kind of felt like it wasn't necessary, to be honest.
Yeah. It's just another toy to sell.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think what they did here was they've toned it back from him being a government pawn and made him more of an Avenger. So not having that Iron Patriot suit, which closely associates him with being a U.S. Avenger, if you will.
Right.
I know they are Avengers and they're based in the U.S. and all
Yeah.
that, but they feel like they're defending the world as opposed to him being a government lackey, if you will. Or something
Yeah.
like that, right?
That's right.
Fair
And going
enough.
off his costume, you know, they mentioned in the content, it really is more bulky.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is War Machine, right?
Yeah.
I love the look of it.
Oh, I love the gun on the shoulder. That's the best part.
Oh, it's so good.
And that ping pong paddle he pulls out at one point.
Yeah.
Because that was the pop. It was really weird because the Funko Pop for War Machine had this weird paddle.
Oh, weird.
And everyone's like, what the hell is that? And he pulls it out at one point. He's like, I'm going to hit you with this, Cap. It might hurt. And it breaks in like 2 minutes.
Oh, really? I had to rewatch this movie. I thought he hit Ant-Man with it or
He
something.
might have. I can't remember.
We should have our first annual appreciation of War Machine Day. He's underrated, I think. I think he's better than Falcon in terms of sidekicks.
No,
for sure.
Every movie Falcon's been in, he's kind of not stolen the show, but he's shown his colors, man. He's great, Falcon. And even if he gets like the smallest material, he's so charismatic. This guy,
Yeah,
Anthony
I like the
Mackie,
actor. He's a
right?
good actor.
And on paper, me like besides the Sam Wilson run, I've never been a Falcon guy.
Yeah.
I've never really cared for him. But Anthony Mackie just takes his character to another level that everybody can kind of vibe with, right?
Yeah, he's cool, but
Yeah.
if they fought, he would get destroyed by War Machine, is all I'm saying. He lost to Ant-Man, guys.
He didn't lose, Dan.
He got his butt kicked by an Ant-Man.
I'm Team Falcon.
Yeah, I'm Falcon for sure.
All right, guys, tweet us. Team War Machine or Team Falcon?
Team Sidekick. A couple weeks ago, we talked about Suicide Squad versus Justice League.
That's right.
The big first DC Comics Rebirth crossover event coming down the pipe here
Yep.
in a little bit. This past week, they announced that Zod will be joining Task Force X right in time for this crossover event.
Kneel before Zod.
Yeah, Neil.
Love that line.
Yeah, which like the original or like the Man of Steel one?
Does he say that in
Because in
Master?
the original, he just says like, Neil. Like it's a little.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, Michael
He's calling
Shannon
out a guy.
killed it.
Hey, Neil.
There's Neil, and he's before Zod. I think Michael Shannon was a better Zod than Terrence
Oh,
Stamp.
he's the best. Yeah.
Controversial, maybe, but yeah.
Does this give them a little more clout? Now, can they fight the Justice League? I think they eventually team up,
Yeah.
but maybe this gives them a little bit more power in their back pocket to actually take on the Justice League.
Yeah, this makes a little more sense now. Because, like, you know, you're a Suicide Squad guy here, Sunjay, so you know roughly what the lineup was, because I'm not too familiar with the Rebirth lineup or even
okay.
the New 52. So who is there? We got
So the Rebirth was Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang,
Deadshot?
Deadshot. I haven't actually read this comic. It was kind of
Katana.
Katana.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had fallen off my list.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw that Zod was joining, he's my favorite villain, so I'm like, shit, now I have to pick this up because there's so few Zod stories out there. So
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, where's this guy been? But this makes more sense now. They can go a little, not toe to toe, but at least they can have some fighting chance.
yeah, I
Because
think.
he takes Zod out the mix. They're getting
Oh
killed.
yeah. I think Zod, maybe he'll have like his powers raised a bit. You know how it always is, like the villain always gets his powers raised to fit the situation. Like you could have Riddler fighting Superman, and they'd have to like amp up Riddler's intelligence to make it a fair fight. They always do that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I love Zod. As I said, he's my favorite villain. I don't know why he's my favorite villain. I don't know what that says about me, but I just love Zod. So I'm in. Tim, does this draw you in? Because you said you enjoyed Man of Steel. Is Zod, is he someone that has enough star power to interest you in this event?
I'm going to say no, but I will read this event. I'm just going to read the 6-issue series. I'm not going to do any of the tie-ins or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think it comes out weekly, which is nice.
Yeah.
So it's almost like reading a trade.
Right.
And I'm interested and intrigued a bit by the concept of Suicide Squad versus Justice League. And I haven't been keeping up a lot with Rebirth, but apparently this has some implications. And I have a feeling we're going to see some sort of Watchmen influence in this story.
That'd be
and we're
cool.
going to get some explanation of that. Because they talk about in the synopsis another team of sorts coming
Right.
into this.
Yeah.
Another greater evil, which in my mind I'm like, maybe they're starting to talk about Watchmen a bit.
Yes.
And trying to get that out into the public a bit more as far as understanding the evolution and where Rebirth actually came from, this whole Dr. Manhattan thing.
Right.
I have no idea if they've actually explained it or not in the books.
Not really.
Do we know if this is going to be like carried on in a Justice League issue, or is it going to be its own thing?
So I think it crosses over into 2 issues of Justice League
Okay.
and 2 issues of Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Maybe more. So it's like the main series as well as 1 or 2 issues of the others as they tie in. I don't know if it's going to be like a 1, 2, 3 Justice League, Suicide Squad, 4, 5, 6 Justice League, Suicide Squad.
Normally DC does that.
Yeah.
So it probably will.
Where you have to read it. So I guess I do. If I am reading it, you have to read those.
They're
not just side stories or some different perspective, like Captain Boomerang's perspective.
Yeah.
On this whole fight.
That's right. I mean, I've been reading Justice League, and it's kind of fallen a little bit for me from issue 4. I've yet to pick up issue 5 yet. But I do know, I don't want to give too many spoilers about Detective Comics, but something did happen at the end of that last issue where another character has been introduced, Dr. Oz, I think, of some sort, which people are speculating that he's one of the Watchmen too. So, we already know there's Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
And then we know that there's this other doctor out there, which I'm pretty sure is a Watchman as well. I haven't been keeping up with the Flash comic books, but I think they've also been trying to pull off the strings of the Watchmen stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like what you guys are saying, that they're teaming up against the Watchmen. So I'll have to pick it up, I guess, because I'm following Justice League, but I'm just not much of a Suicide Squad guy. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe this will change your tune.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Sticking with the DC.
Yes.
This past week, September 17th to be exact, was the 3rd annual observance of Batman Day.
Yeah.
Yay, Batman! Woo!
So DC Comics seems to have arbitrarily chosen this day, because I could not find, albeit I did not look super hard on the internet today as I was looking through this, as to why September 17th is a significant day that they've chosen to be Batman Day. Because my understanding is his first appearance was in May of 39 in Detective Comics number 27. So I don't quite know why September 17th is the day of significance. I don't know if it's some significant day in DC's history, or if it's Bob Kane's birthday, or I have no idea.
Right.
We'll just say it's Batman's birthday. I have no idea either.
It's kind of strange, but Zack Snyder, in celebration of this, released 2 images from the set of Justice League. That is coming to a close, the production on that, at least the principal photography. Mm-hmm. And he first released a new image of Batman in a tactical suit, as he called it.
That's right, yeah.
What are your thoughts on this Night Owl-looking Batman?
It does look an awful lot like Night Owl. The thing for me is the goggles.
Yes.
But I heard some stuff online, like the goggles are supposed to be like, in the comics, how his eyes are always white. So the goggles might like flare up white, and then they're used for like navigating some sort of ship or something. So I think they do serve a purpose, but on first glance, like they do look an awful lot like Night Owl. I don't know, like the costume looks kind of like Christopher Nolan, like besides the goggles, like the armor. That's kind of a vibe I got.
The ears are a bit shorter, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not feeling this this costume. Well, negatives, I guess. I don't like the goggles. I agree with you completely. I hate the ears because it just looks way too much like Night Owl. Yeah. I really wish they would just go like the T'Challa route and give him like the cool eye lens to make it look like the classic Batman. Cause I think that looks so cool. We've never seen it on the big screen except for maybe Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, where he kind of did that little vision.
Oh, that was cool, yeah.
That's kind of cool, and I wish they went more of that route as opposed to goggles. We saw the goggles already in BVS for that Nightmare sequence.
Yeah.
But going off his actual costume, the armor, I really like the padded like abs and like the shoulder piece. I like that. It looks very Batman Arkham Asylum like the video game. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. And I wish the ears I just wish they went with the Batman Arkham Asylum look. Yeah. Toe to toe.
With the big huge ears?
Yeah, with like the bit bigger ears. I just don't like the weird shaped Night Owl look. It's pretty lame. But I don't think we're gonna see much of this costume.
No.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I heard it might make an appearance at the end. Like it's kind of used for Batman taking on bigger threats that his black or his gray and black costume can't really handle. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I really like the costume when he fights Superman and Batman vs Superman. I thought that was cool with like the armor and stuff.
Right, very Frank Miller, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that too.
Batman has a lot of costumes in the DCU already.
He does. That's why I was kind of wishing, with all the costumes we've seen in the comic books, they just kind of, were inspired by one of those suits to adapt. I wish we saw something like, I don't know, something out of some kind of comic book arc as opposed to just making this original one, because I'm just not on board with it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to say about the eyes and comparing them a bit to what we saw in The Dark Knight, because I think that's the weakest part of that movie.
Oh, you didn't like that one?
Whole sequence with the eyes.
Oh,
I did not like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bit too, we're in a comic book movie, yes, but they were trying so hard to make it grounded, and I felt that took me right out of the movie. I'm like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I would have preferred more of a night vision thing instead of a sonar vision thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because he had, what's his name, Alfred in his ear the whole time.
Fox Lucius.
Lucius, yeah. And that took me right out of the movie. I did not enjoy. That's the only part of the
I
movie
get that.
I didn't
I kind of like the sequence. Maybe the eyes were a little weird.
Yeah.
But for the goggles, I don't like them at all in this movie.
Yeah. I got the impression that when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, he must be working on the Batmobile. Because I thought it was like he was like welding something, and because the way he had his arm, he's holding up against some sort of metal piece or whatever. And it's like, oh, maybe he's like cutting into the Batmobile or something. And those are just like arc glasses for something, so he can weld. I don't know. It looked kind of weird, but it's one of these things that Zack Snyder does have a tendency to do sometimes. And I'm sorry, Zack Snyder, for ragging on you again. Is he releases things that are so out of context that people explode over it. Yeah. And so he's had this experience with Batman vs Superman, with Man of Steel and Justice League and that, of releasing stuff too early and out of context. And he'd learned by now that people are going to be like, what the hell is with the goggles? Like, this is weird. Like, in the movie, it probably makes sense why he's wearing goggles. Yeah. But right now, maybe he's temporarily blind. I don't know. Yeah. But when you just release an image like that on Batman Day, something that's kind of a bit off of what we're used to seeing as far as your cinematic Batmans. Right. It's kind of like, why would you do that? It's just a little weird. Like, I agree. I like the suit. It looks cool. You're always going to get different Batman suits the same way you get different Iron Man suits. Yeah. It's a little bit about being toyetic. Yes. And it's a little bit about evolving the character and doing something cool. Like getting a different interpretation of the suit on the screen. Yeah. And I can appreciate that. But Zack Snyder, stop just releasing things out of context. If you're going to do that, release a bit of a trailer or something on why he's got the goggles on. Because this has been all the talk. It hasn't been the fact that he was cool enough to release an image or that the suit looks pretty cool. Yeah. Don't understand what makes that a tactical suit over a normal Batman suit, which is a tactical suit as well.
I think it's just the armor, and I think there's a lot to it. I know when they had the set visit.
The screen set visit.
Yeah, they had the screen set visit, and I know a lot of the journalists had talked about this tactical suit and saying that it would come into play at the end of the film when he's taking on bigger threats that aren't just human. So, like, it's not something that was, like, kind of out of the blue. It's something that we've been kind of expecting to get released for a while.
Because we did hear talks about another variation of the costume, right?
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
Yeah.
And another photo that Zack Snyder released was an image of Jim Gordon.
Yes.
J. Jonah Jameson.
That's right.
In front of the bat signal.
How cool
this
is that?
Looked like something straight off a comic book page. I loved this photo.
So cool.
And you can see his mustache.
Yeah.
From this
grizzly
photo.
one, right?
That
thick one.
What did you guys think of this photo?
Love it. I can't wait to see how he interacts with Batman. I think this might be the best Commissioner Gordan we get. I mean, J.K. Simmons is a terrific actor. I loved him in Whiplash. Yes. He could be so intimidating. He could be funny. Yeah. He's been in a lot of good movies, so I'm really looking forward to this, and I think he's going to do great. And the picture looked awesome. It's really cool, and I like the color tone to it. Looked really cool too. It's a very Zack Snyder reveal.
Yeah, I like it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of when they released the Batman for the BVS the first time.
Yeah,
black and white kind of look going on. It looks right out of the comic books. It's cool.
Film noir sort of.
Yeah, and we get the bat signal right there too, right?
So cool.
It's a cool look. And I expect nothing but great things from J.K. Simmons, from Oz to Spider-Man to Whiplash. This guy's a world-class actor.
So I was on the interwebs today, and they said they're announcing a Best of Snyder Blu-ray gift set. So I got to ask you guys, because I own all these movies already. I'll tell you the movies, and you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being you're going to pre-order this as soon as we end the podcast. 1 being you're not touching this with a 10-foot pole. How likely you are to buy this, okay? So there's 5 films in the Zack Snyder gift set. There's 300, Sucker Punch, Watchmen, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman. Troy, we'll start with you. 1 to 10.
Ooh, am I going to get that? No, I'm not going to get
that. We appreciate the honesty here. We don't want you holding back here.
Simply because Sucker Punch wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I already have BVS.
Okay.
And I have Man of Steel. And I do have Watchmen. And those are my three favorite Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
I think I have 300 somewhere on DVD. So, yeah, I'm going to stay away from this one.
Yeah. That's only my reasoning. If I didn't have it, I would buy it. But I own all of them on Steelbook, I think, anyway. So.
Right. Even Sucker Punch?
Yeah, I do own Sucker Punch on Steelbook, so...
Watch it on mute, or...
I haven't seen it yet, but
okay.
I still have to see it. Actually, the only one I don't have on Steelbook is 300.
Oh, okay, that'd be a cool one, I bet.
Yeah.
Tim, you gonna get this one?
No! I do have a few of those movies already, and that's part of the reason. The other reason is, I'm not gonna buy that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Sanjay, you already own all of these movies
I
twice
do.
over. So
I own Watchmen 3 times, 3 different versions. So, well, there's different versions because the 4K one it weaves in the Tale of the Black Friday.
You got the 4K?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Impressive.
so it's like 3.5, 4 hours long, but it's pretty sweet.
in celebration of Batman Day, what we're going to do here is we're going to break down some of Batman's most significant stories in comics, film, and TV, as well as talk about how the character's evolved a bit from his early iterations through to present-day interpretation of Batman in Rebirth and in the DC Cinematic Universe, as well as some of our favorite stories. One of the questions I wanted to pose here right out of the gates is, why do you guys think Batman is such an enduring character? He's been around since May of 1939, so over 75 years of comic books with a single character. And this character itself has evolved through the time with comic books, but the essence of the character has more or less remained the same since his inception. Why, at least from you personally, why do you think this character has carried through for such a long time?
I just simply think it's because he's had the best stories. If you look at other characters who have kind of come and gone, like the Shadow or Spirit, they may have had like 3 or 4 good stories, but Batman, he's had many, many well done stories, not only in comic books, but in films, TV series. He's just so adaptable. I mean, everyone can relate to tragedy in their lives. Batman, he just opens himself up to the detective narrative. He can fit in anything, really. And I think that's partly why he's been so popular. It's just he's so malleable as a character where he can fit in almost any kind of story. You can have him going off and fighting aliens in the Justice League, and then the next week you can have him on like a more detective story trying to tackle Two-Face or the Riddler. And then you look at all the writers who have worked on Batman. I just think, if you were to rank the 100 greatest comic book stories of all time, the majority of that list, more than any other character, would be Batman stories. And I just simply think that's the reason why. He's just had the best writers and the best stories that no one else has in any other comic book. So that's what I think. Troy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with you quite a bit, actually. I think he's just an incredible character. Everybody wants to be that kind of guy, right? Everybody wants to be Bruce Wayne, right?
Yeah.
And everybody kind of wants to have the gadgets, the toys, the cars. He's at the top of the man's physical peak, right? So he has all the training in the world. He's a master detective. And he appeals to boys and men and women and girls, right? Like, everybody just loves this character. He has a Batcave, right? Everybody wants the Batcave.
The Batmobile.
The Batmobile, right? And you're right. He's had some of the greatest stories, and he's evolved so much, but at the same time, still stayed true to the core character that he's always been. Yeah, I love this character, and I can't wait to see the other 77 years to go. Yeah.
And it's really that. I think you guys hit the nail on the head there. It comes down to his relatability. Mm-hmm. He's born out of tragedy. He's a conflicted, at times, a flawed character at times, right? And so that's relatable to the average person. And I think what you said, Troy, there is he's at his peak physical condition. When you watch the Batman movies, and you see Batman just cut to pieces, you're like, I could almost be that. Yeah. And it comes down to that again. It's like, when you think about the character, and particularly from the Nolan verse and some of the comic book iterations, it's, if I had Bruce Wayne's money, I could do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you compare and contrast him to another character that has a lot of similar traits. Mm-hmm. So, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, superhero.
Yeah.
Those 4 descriptive terms can be used for 2 characters, Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
But,
and Green Arrow.
That's right, and Green Arrow, yeah.
Yes. But which character do you feel you can relate the most to? Tony Stark's an awesome character, but I'd still never feel like he's the most relatable. He's not selfless like Batman. Mm-hmm. He's a very different character with similar traits.
Yes.
He has the money, right?
He could be the bad guy. Like, look at Civil War. He's the bad guy, for lack of a better term. Whereas in Batman vs. Superman, you kind of more on the side of Batman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's really about his relatability, I think. I think that's what he's doing. And the fact that he's had some of the most pivotal and best comic book stories of all time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's kind of like the first superhero we've had that's dark and gritty and kind of scary, right? I mean, we've had Zorro way back then, and you had Dracula, and you had the Spirit or the Shadow.
Yeah.
But Batman took it to another level. Right?
Yeah.
He did. In his early iterations, going back to the 39s, to the detective comics, he's not really remorseful.
Yeah.
He's out there killing characters.
Guys, breaking necks.
Yeah. And that's something that evolves quite rapidly out of the character, and he has his moral code now, right? He stands for something. and he's, he will not kill. He
Yeah.
will not use guns. He does from time to time.
I think every movie he has killed at least one person.
But he always makes an attempt to not kill people, right? He has that in him.
Yeah.
Well, except in Batman vs Superman, he's just like, nah, nuts to this.
Yeah.
And for the most part, he wins, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, he wins. He's taken out Darkseid twice.
Yeah.
In the comic books, right? He's a mortal man amongst gods,
Yeah.
but you still want to be him at the end of the day rather than the other heroes.
Yeah.
He grounds the Justice League. When you're talking about the original 7 members of the Justice League, he's the most relatable one. I mean, he's human. Everyone else has like super fantastical powers. Mm-hmm. He's just a guy with a lot of money and a lot of sick gadgets. For lack of a better term, he's just a one step above James Bond.
But when you look at him in the different iterations of Justice League, he's sitting there rubbing shoulders with superpowered, like, mega superheroes. He's hanging out in space. He's time traveling, all this.
Yeah.
To me, he always doesn't fit that. Like, it's weird to me when you say, oh, he took down Darkseid, or seeing him fighting Doomsday in Batman vs Superman. I didn't really see his impact on that fight. He's kind of there shooting once in a while. He shot the grenade or whatever.
Yeah.
But I like my Batman like I like Cap. I like Cap fighting Nazis. I like Cap fighting Hydra-grounded agents.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him off in Dimension Z or out in space or whatever. I like my Cap grounded. That's the same way I like, from the very few stories I've read of Batman, is I like Batman fighting his rogues gallery, which isn't fantastical.
Yes.
And I love that about Batman. It's his rogues gallery. You get the Joker, Riddler, all these guys. It's all about intellect, right? It's all about psychology. It's not always about, with the exception of Bane and a few others.
Yeah.
It's not always about the physical end of it, right? It's about being a detective. And that's something, again, that Batman's contrasts a bit to a lot of superheroes, is his intellect. He's not just all brawn, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying guys like Superman and that are dumb or unintelligent characters, but their main power is their strength, where Batman's is his intellect and his gadgetry and all that. But
yeah, and he's always prepared, right? Like, he took down the whole Justice League because he's prepared and he thought of each one of their weaknesses.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of my favorite stories, Tower of Babel, where, he's like, okay, to take down Superman, you need this. To take down Aquaman, you need this. And it's just a great run. And, again, it kind of fits in, like, his Justice League. I know, Tim, you say you like him more kind of grounded. To me, I do like him grounded, and those are where you get some of his best stories. But it is cool to see him kind of break out. Because when he's fighting the Riddler, for example, you don't get to see him punch anyone. That story is all about the detective, the behind the scenes, which is cool in its own right. But then you go to a story like Grant Morrison's New World Order, where he's taking on these white Martian aliens. And you get to see him actually like punch and like kind of crazy and use his physical stuff. So I think that's kind of why, to me anyways, I do like him when he goes more out of this world. So you can actually see him use his physical threats and his gadgets too. Whereas it's not just the detective side of his brain.
Yeah, I agree. I love him in both aspects. And it's cool, even going back to the last issue of Justice League before it became Rebirth. So issue 52, a great issue where he basically brings Robin. It's kind of like Bring Your Son to Work Day. And he brings them to meet the Justice League, and he's taking on the Justice League, and there's a big threat going on, and Robin's kind of thinking the whole time, why am I here?
Yeah.
But Batman's kind of like, just do your thing. We've gone over this. And he starts rolling with Cyborg and Green Lantern and doing all these cool things. And at the end of the issue, Robin's basically like, I don't think I have what it takes to join this team. And Batman's kind of like, no, you're not only going to join this team, but one day you're going to lead this team.
Wow.
Much like Batman does himself. And that right there just solidifies why this guy's the man,
Worst parent in the world, but best superhero.
He's only had about 2 Robins die now.
Why do they keep giving these orphans to billionaire Bruce Wayne? It's like, the last 2 have died, but third time's a charm, Brucey boy.
Also, who adopts a 21-year-old man?
Batman and Robin. Chris O'Donnell's
Chris
like
O'Donnell.
30 years old. He's like, I really don't need this. Like, I had my own place back in Central City. He's like, no, just come with me. It's all right.
It's like, I own a circus. No.
Yeah.
Fine, I've got candy.
Or sorry, that's Batman Forever. When he
Batman
does that.
Forever.
Yeah. It's the only Robin origin we have to date in the films.
Yeah, I guess we're going to get one soon, I would imagine.
I hope so. I mean,
hope so.
To me, Robin is always just as popular as Batman. To me, I mean, growing up, you'd have Batman and you'd have Robin.
Yeah.
Robin is probably the most popular sidekick. We were talking earlier, War Machine and Falcon.
Yeah.
But Robin dwarfs those in popularity.
It's Robin for sure. Robin, Nightwing, Dick Grayson is my favorite DC character of all time. That's my That's my guy right there.
And that's the portion of Batman series I've never actually read, is the whole Nightwing and Robin evolving into something beyond what we saw in the 66 series. Because that's the Robin I always have in my head. Right?
Holy rusted metal Batman!
Exactly. And I don't have that concept of a gritty, dark, grounded Nightwing kicking ass sort of Robin, right?
He's great. Well, and the cool thing with him is, I know this is Batman-centric, but he's better than Batman. And that's the issue that's going on right now in Rebirth, is the fact that he can still put down the Nightwing costume and go out there and have a life away from being a vigilante, right? Whereas Batman, Bruce can't let that go. And, you know, Nightwing's been Nightwing, he's been an agent, he's been Robin, and he's been Batman. He's done it all, right?
Yeah, it's true. So. Did you read or did you play the Injustice video game?
Oh, yeah.
So, do you see this? Remember the scene where he's fighting Damian Wayne, his son?
Yeah.
And Damian's kind of on Superman's team, so he's kind of gone evil.
Oh, yeah.
And then he beats him. He's like, "You were never my son. Dick Grayson was more of a son to me than you ever will." Yeah, such a cool line. I love that. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, though, I don't like that Dick Grayson bites it.
Yeah.
in that movie.
in that video game.
Video game.
Probably the best video game comic we'll have. Again, is another Batman versus Superman story. I mean, a lot of Batman stories is him going up against Superman. Why do they lend themselves so well to battle against each other?
They have different ideals. Like, at the end of the day, they're both striving to save humanity. But I think always in the back of his head, similar to what you see in Batman vs. Superman, Batman's always thinking, what if he goes rogue? What if he goes off the deep end? And the Injustice story, from what I understand, from what I've read briefly, is that he has one little switch, and that's Lois Lane.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I've always liked this concept that Batman's kept track of the Justice League and has contingency plans for what happens if Aquaman goes rogue or if Superman goes rogue. He has backup plans for this. He's always one step ahead of even his allies, right? He's always sitting there being like, what if? And he's got the contingencies for that. And I love that about Batman.
So good.
So when we step into the comic books a bit, so we had the evolution of the character out of the 40s into the 50s. We had a sci-fi element there, and his character evolved with the times. We had the sci-fi, the detective comics, the horror comics, and all that, where they incorporated those aspects into the Batman stories, as opposed to what you saw at other comic book companies like Timely and that it simply put the superheroes to the back burner and let the horror stories, the sci-fi stories, take front and center as far as their flagship comic books. But then when we get back into the 60s, where the superhero era actually takes off, when we get Justice League debuting with Batman, you're getting Fantastic Four, you're getting Avengers, all these superheroes are coming now to the forefront and take prominence from basically then on into present day.
Yeah.
But this is where we see kind of an evolution of the character back into more of a detective, and then stepping into Batman 66.
Yes.
Which is a completely different iteration of the character. This camp style, if you will. And for me personally, this is my first introduction as a child to Batman.
Oh, okay.
I remember sitting in my cottage as a kid, waiting for that opening sequence where you have all the different villains flying by the screen.
Oh, yeah.
The animation. I must have been 5. So it's pre-92, pre the animated series. And this is how I thought Batman and Robin were. And that's why I think for a lot of people, Batman 89 was such a shock. Because our parents' generation grew up with the campy Batman, which put out 120 episodes in 2 years. Crazy, right?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. You know, as much as we rag on the 66 series, it really did save Batman because sales of that comic were plummeting until 66 came out. And a little interesting tidbit about that series, the only reason why that series got made was due to our friend Hugh Hefner over at Playboy. So he used to have parties, and he's a big movie connoisseur. I don't know if you know that about him, but there used to be a TV or a movie serialization of Batman in the 40s. And it's awful. It's like some of the worst stuff you've ever seen. If you look at the costumes, it's horrible. And so they kind of like played them as kind of jokes, right? And then I guess it was either Adam West or someone who was in there from Fox, and they saw it, and they just saw how like popular it was, and it kind of just took off from there. And then the idea kind of morphed into 66 Batman. We may not have even had Batman if it wasn't for that 66 series. He may have just fallen to the wayside, kind of like, oh, I don't know, Fantastic Four is right now.
So, I don't know if it's out of the 66 Batman, but some of the comics I've read recently, there's always a dinosaur in the Batcave. What is the deal with that?
I have no idea.
I've never known that. The big dinosaur, there's the big penny.
I think the penny's the Joker. And I think the dinosaur may be from the Joker's lair as well.
Yeah, I think the penny's Two-Face.
Oh, okay.
The coin.
Yeah.
And then I think the card is obviously Joker. But I don't know what the dinosaur...
Because I've always taken it like, okay, this is like the collector's vault. This is just stuff that is from Batman's past. And it's in there to get the heavy Batman readers, the people that's been reading for decades, and be like, yeah, I understand the Batman. Because when you read, I think it was in the first issue of Rebirth that I read, or maybe New 52, don't remember. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is all grounded, pretty gritty, you know. And then there's a dinosaur in the background, in the back end. I'm like, there's something about that.
Do you think Snyder should put that into the new Batman film, or Affleck should put it in the new Batman solo adventure, the dinosaur in the Batcave?
I think they should, if they introduce like Robin's origin, and he's like is terrified and he sees this dinosaur, like, what the hell, where am I? Like, when he discovers the Batcave, and that's the first thing he sees, and is like,
that'd be cool.
Jurassic Park, like, I don't know,
or even just a skeleton, something like it's Bruce Wayne just being like, yeah, hey, I have all.
Look what I come up. Knowing Batman is probably like a living dinosaur or something too. He went back in time and brought it back. I could see it, and just like he's so strong, right? He's Batman. He just told the dinosaur to stay, kind of like a dog, and so the dinosaur's just sitting.
One thing I don't know if you guys remember this or not. So this is the only thing I remember from the Batman 66 series, other than the pows and whams and bams and the look of the characters. Is one particular scene, and I have no idea why this sticks out in my head, but it's a Joker scene, and he's playing baseball in Arkham or wherever they are. He stands on home plate, and it flings him out of the stadium. And I don't know if that's an actual scene. If anyone out there understands the scene, or if it actually exists, or if I dreamt this up, 25 years ago. But this is the only thing I remember about that series. And the Joker's up there, Cesar Romero with his painted mustache.
Yeah.
Right?
He didn't even bother to shave the mustache.
Why would you? That is so boss.
Right?
Yeah.
I gotta say, that's probably the last time we ever saw Gotham look so good.
Yeah.
It's so bright and sunny.
Yeah. All the jobs have been lost. It's kind of like Michigan. Last time that place looked good was in the 60s. Oof. Sorry, Michigan. So did you guys ever watch the 66 movie that got released into theaters?
It's on Netflix, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched it the other day. It's amazing. It's something out there. He has the shark repellent.
Oh, that's that one.
Yeah. And then he has like a bomb. He's trying to get rid of it. He's just running back and forth in the pier. And he's like, Robin, sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb. Just so out there. You just can't help but love it. I mean, looking back and then watching it from like my point of view, I probably don't appreciate it as much as if I watched it as a kid like you, Tim. So, it's fine. Not my cup of tea, but I'm glad it's out there because it kind of shaped Batman into who he is today.
It really did, because spinning out of that series, so that only lasted 2 seasons, a lot of episodes, but coming out of that, there was a real drive by Neil Adams and Steve Englehart to get away from that campiness and get back to the roots of Batman, the core of the character, as you put it, Troy, and going more towards this grounded, this grim, gritty characterization. And that's something that we saw taken through the 70s and into the 80s, where we really have the Frank Miller era, where a lot of the films take inspiration from in particular. So you have stuff like The Dark Knight Returns, which Snyder took heavy influence from.
Absolutely.
Nolan did as well. We have the retired Batman coming out of retirement to fight Superman. And fantastic. That book's great. The art's a bit hard to look at sometimes.
It is.
It's a bit weird.
But
again, if you can get your hands on that trade, it's really good. And the adaptation that Snyder did as far as the look and the aesthetic of it, he did capture that in Batman vs. Superman.
Agree.
And I do like how in Batman vs. Superman they do have kind of the newscasters telling a bunch of the stories. I never really thought of that until just now, actually. And then you go back and you reread the graphic novel. That story is told by newscasters as well. So it's a nice tie-in there that I just picked up now. Maybe I'm late to it, but...
and year one, a little bit in Batman Begins, a little,
Yeah, it comes out the next year, 87. It's the reinvigoration of Batman through all this. This is retelling his origin
story, right?
And this is a lot of Batman Begins, and even Dark Knight takes notes from this book. I think it's in year one where we do have the Joker card at the end of the series. Where him and Gordon are talking about that.
Yeah.
And there's also the concept of poisoning the water supplies all in there.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it's fighting the mob and all that. So a lot of concepts are taken from year one and driven into the Nolan universe as well.
Right, and very grounded, right?
Exactly, and taking that characterization. And moving into more of the Alan Moore era, where we get even darker. And contextually, we get into a place where, not many comic books really go nowadays. It's
No.
this killing joke, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of implied victimization to Batgirl, Barbara Gordon in this.
Yeah.
They just released an R-rated cut animated series
Yeah.
of this
Yeah.
with Mark Hamill returning to be the Joker.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing Batman in particular touching on a lot of issues that a lot of comic books wouldn't even go near. And this is a character, and particularly these stories, that Marvel probably would never touch.
No.
It's not. Marvel is much more of your PG-13, PG type writing.
Yeah.
This stuff is hard R, some of
Yeah.
it.
Oh, absolutely.
And some of the stuff that's implied in these comic books is it's, touchy subjects, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very controversial for the time and even today. And that storyline, Killing Joke, wasn't even meant to be part of continuity.
That's right.
But it was just so popular that they ended up putting it in. And Grant Morrison actually just came out either last year or the year before saying at the end of it, Batman actually kills the Joker in that.
So that's what
really?
you wanted
yeah.
to do?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
so you see the scene, he says, like, you can hear the Joker yelling, and then you hear, like, a snap. The next scene is, like, a snap.
Oh.
And then Joker doesn't yell anymore. And he's like, no one picked that up. And then he's like, that's what Alan Moore was trying to get with that, the killing joke.
Oh.
So, you know,
Got it,
Batman...
killing joke.
Yeah.
Killing the joke.
Yeah.
I always like the idea that it was kind of left ambiguous. It's your own
Yeah.
interpretation.
Yeah, I kind of like that too.
Yeah.
But
Did he kill him? Didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really up to you. But so they do put it into continuity. They obviously don't kill the Joker. That'd
that's
be
right.
the
But
worst.
Barbara Gordon
Yeah.
is paralyzed and becomes the Oracle.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she was a very popular character and a very good symbol for people with disabilities because she was just a great superhero, and many people want her to come back as Oracle and were mad when she came back as Batgirl.
Yeah, no, the killing joke, that was something else. The adaptation for the movie didn't hit home
No.
as well.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Neither have I, but they added scenes that weren't in it originally, and apparently those scenes are what really takes away from the movie.
I think to stretch it out, the whole first part is a Barbara Gordon story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what happens between Batman and Barbara Gordon in that
Ugh.
movie.
Damn.
Yeah.
This does not make any sense.
No.
Sanjay, you mentioned Batman the Animated Series.
Yes.
So 92, this is right in all of our wheelhouses.
Yes.
This, I said that Batman 66 was my first introduction to Batman. The animated series is where I grew the appreciation and the love for Batman.
Yes.
My first exposure to Batman, definitely the animated series. Without that, I probably wouldn't be here today. It's just had that much of an impact on my life growing up. Not so much the series itself. I mean, the series itself was great. But to me, I was drawn in by the toys and the action figures.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a lot of that.
The lineup, right?
Oh, yeah.
The toys. That was one of the first toys where I had where you can actually change the identity of Batman. You can go Bruce Wayne
Yeah.
with Batman.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool back then. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And you could also have all the villains too, right?
Yep.
Normally, growing up, the toys were just the superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, you could get a clay-faced action figure, which I had. I had Man-Bat, I had Riddler,
The
I had
Batmobile.
Two-Face, the Batmobile.
Two-Face to this day is still one of my favorite action figures.
Yeah.
The
Because you had
teal?
a different... Yeah, the teal was cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that was my first, exposure to Batman and the action figures especially, and actually the movie action figures. So I have an older brother, and he actually had the figures from 89 Batman
I
and
did
Batman
too.
Returns.
With the belt had the rope attached
Yeah,
to it. You could
yeah.
take it off and then go back on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Joker's sidekick, who's in the movie for like 2 minutes, but they needed to make toys, kind of like the Star Wars effect when
That's
the movie
right.
takes off.
Yeah.
So they made a toy of I think his name's like Joe the henchman or something.
And they even released a toy for Batman Returns of Robin, even though he wasn't in the movie.
Really?
But they had a toy line to go with that movie of Robin.
Was it,
And he's based off the Tim Drake outfit.
Marlon Wayans or
No, it wasn't. No,
No?
It was, he looked just like Tim Drake.
That's
Same
amazing.
costume, same everything, but he wasn't in the movie.
The Batman toy series, particularly for that 89 Batman Returns kind of timeline, there was like a snow Batman and a
Yeah.
swamp Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And a high altitude Batman and a winged Batman. There's all kinds of weird stuff. Cruise ship Batman.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, everything.
Unfortunately, Schumacher took that to heart and actually put that in his films and
Yes.
not realizing that
Made a
it
live
should
action
stay.
toy
Yeah.
commercial.
Exactly.
We'll get to that when that comes up.
Yeah.
But Batman the Animated Series was the best thing ever. Right?
Yeah.
I think that got everybody on board. It aired here, I believe, on RDTV
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
back in the day. My brother used to pick me up from school, and we used to just watch on every
Oh,
Wednesday or
man.
so.
I think it won Emmys.
It
Yeah.
did. The origin story of Robin is a 2-parter episode. It won an Emmy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it introduced Harley Quinn.
Yes.
It retold the story of Mr. Freeze, made a more tragic character.
Yeah, they made that actually canon since the cartoon episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really modernized Batman. So we're coming out of this dark era of the Frank Miller written comic books. It really took inspiration from that. This whole film noir. It's
Yeah.
more of a cinematic take on the character inside this. It's made for children, but there's a lot of adult toned narrative in this movie, in this animated series, right? And I think that's where the appreciation for this grew a lot. So it ran for like 85 episodes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Led by Kevin Conroy, the
Yes.
best
Yes.
voice actor ever
Mark
to
Hamill
do
as the
Batman.
Joker.
Mark Hamill, the Joker.
Yeah,
Right?
I always think
Oh.
of Mark Hamill as the Joker because that was my first exposure to him. I know it's going to drive you guys crazy, but when I started watching Star Wars, I was like, oh yeah, that's the Joker.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that. But that's pretty fair. That's
It's
pretty
one of
fair.
his other definitive roles is the Joker,
probably
right? And that's why he
yeah.
continually goes back and revisits. Like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
the Joker in The Killing Joke, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And-
Arkham Asylum games.
Yeah. I really like the look of Gotham. It's almost like a character in that animated series as well. I mean, it doesn't take place in any set time. You have cars, you kind of have like cell phones, kind of, and then you have Zeppelins flying by. Like, it makes no sense. Like, it's not any timeline in the history of man, but it just works because, you know, I can watch that now and not make it seem dated.
Exactly. Yeah, aged well.
It has aged very well.
Yeah.
Have you guys gone back and watched it recently?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
I love it. I especially once it goes into the new adventures of Batman and Robin.
Oh, you
When
like
they
that? With
introduced Tim Drake.
Yeah.
And then Robin's gone on to be Nightwing, and Batgirl has more of a shine in this.
Yeah.
And Harvey Dent, a little bit new animation styles too.
Yeah.
Joker looks a little different, a little more wicked, you could
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Right?
No, absolutely. I didn't get any of the action figures of the new adventures, but I was more the old ones. But I did get the DVDs of the entire ones, and you know, that's another series that we'll have to revisit and potentially do commentary on because it's just so well done.
Well, you know, Delayed Offside, him and I, we go back and forth with these figures. Because we have the new DC collectible animated series. line
Yes,
going
that's
on,
right. They
and
re-released them, right?
That's right. That's right.
I got to go back and find them because they're all at my mom's house in the basement, and I have pretty much the whole lineup there.
Oh.
So that's going to be one day, 1 week, and I'm just going to go there, plunk myself, dig away. I'll come back and amaze you guys with like Riddler, Two-Face,
Nice.
Batman, Robin, Catwoman.
Oh.
Yeah, Joker even. I don't even know actually if I had a Joker or Harley Quinn. Those are probably two ones that I probably should have got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn's probably worth a fortune.
Yeah. I probably got like the Jim Gordon one instead or the Harvey Bullock one.
Coming out of this animation series, and we have the follow-on animated series that it spun out of, we move into basically the film era of Batman, where we do get the initial interpretation of Batman, what some call the definitive interpretation of Batman and the Joker on screen, at least up until we had The Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. Starting off with Burton, or the Burton-Schumacher-verse, whatever you want to call it, but Burton's original interpretation in 1989, and this is going a lot darker, and like I said, shocked a lot of people as far as coming out of what they saw in Batman 66 to this, and even going back to this now and comparing it to what we have in the current universe or even the Nolan universe, this again seems somewhat campy in comparison.
Yeah.
Like, you take Jack Nicholson's Joker in here, which people said no one's ever going to touch this.
Oh,
yeah.
We've got two different interpretations out of that people have found strengths and weaknesses with, but Jack Nicholson's Joker, like, it was a really menacing character.
Yeah. Simply called Jack.
Yeah. Do you ever dance with the devil in the pale
yeah.
moonlight?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's
Love that.
Michael Keaton.
I
Man.
love it. That's my favorite line.
Yeah. What do you guys think of them changing it and having Joker kill Batman's parents?
It made sense for back then, and it's something we've seen a trend happen way later. You know, Green Goblin and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We've seen it over and over again, most of these superhero movies, right?
Yeah.
But I liked it. It worked
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the time. Yeah.
And I think at the time, and even right now when you think about it, it really intimately connects those two characters because they seem almost like this yin and yang, right?
Yes.
You know, one can't exist without the other. And having that the Joker essentially created Batman by killing his parents, it makes a lot of sense there, narratively
Yeah.
at least, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Batman created Joker by throwing him in the chemicals. So, you know, it's a full circle.
Yeah.
I think the movie still holds up. I mean, I watched it recently in preparation for Batman v Superman. I rewatched all the movies, just all the Batman movies. I didn't get around to the Superman movies, and to me, this one still holds up. It's a great film. You could tell it's a little bit smaller budget, a little bit not as much effects and stuff compared to Batman Returns, but to me, it's a great story. It'd be a great introduction if you're someone's trying to get into Batman. Start there, and you can see the evolution of Batman from there.
And it's interesting too because I think talking about the comic books, and you're talking about the late 50s, early 60s interpretation of the comic books, you know, you're going from the superhero into campy era and then back into this darker, more grounded universe. I think you see this reflected in this movie evolution as well. You start off with something darker, he's killing people, he's throwing bombs at people, whatever, and then you get into campy with the Schumacher, and then you reset and you go to the darker, grittier Nolan universe. I find that really interesting when you contrast that to what we saw in the evolution of the comics, right?
Yeah,
and
true.
you see the same thing with this movie universe, and I find it just really weird how it parallels that, and we're at two totally different eras. Like they had that experimentation phase with Batman as more campy, and they do slowly evolve or devolve, if you will, back into this campiness with the Schumacher universe.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So, and then the follow-up to Batman, which was a huge success, both for Warner Brothers, financially, critically. It won the Academy Award for Best Art Direction.
Yeah.
So this is a really well-received movie. And, we're talking 89 here. So this is well before we have an established comic book movie big box office draw. Because then we went through a period where people were like, comic book movies, get out of here.
Well, especially because after Superman, you had that in 78, I believe. And then Superman 2 was well received, I think, in 80.
Yep.
So you had about 9 years of nothing but crap comic book movies with Superman 3, Superman 4, Captain America, Death Too Soon, all those Howard the Ducks and stuff like that.
Right.
So the 80s were not kind to superhero movies. So that to see it end on a high note in 89 is great. And it brought back the superhero movie, because if we don't have Batman 89, I don't think we have half the movies we have right now.
It helped people understand that comic book movies could be told as good movies with a good narrative and can make money was the other big thing too.
And you can have top-notch actors starting these roles, right?
Exactly. Landing Jack Nicholson and asking him to put on makeup for
Yeah.
over half of his role, right? At that time, Jack Nicholson's a huge star.
Huge.
He doesn't seem like a guy that would really like to sit in a chair and get makeup on his face for whatever 3-4 hours, right?
Yeah. But he got paid a lot, and he was actually top billing over Keaton.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because Keaton was a comedian, I think they said. He did more like
Mr.
Beetlejuice.
Mom.
He did more comedic roles than this. So people were kind of like, wait a second, this guy's shorter. He's a
Yeah.
comedian. What's he doing playing Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
There was huge uproar when he was
Definitely.
announced as the actor. People were freaking out, like writing petitions to
Yeah.
WB and DC and that, being like, what is going on? You're going to ruin it.
Sounds familiar.
Something we saw with Heath Ledger,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I was going to say, it's funny, Batman, he seems to get the most controversy for the casting. I don't remember too much of a backlash when Christian Bale was cast. Do you guys?
No, not at all.
He kind of fits the bill.
Yeah, I think he fits the bill. And Batman was kind of like in a weird place at that time
Yeah.
where we're coming off of the Schumacher verse. So people like, do whatever you want with them. Just don't make it as bad as the toy movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You could never make it as bad as that.
So the 89 Batman did inspire 3 sequels. We had Batman Returns in 92,
Yes.
followed up by Batman Forever, and then Batman and Robin.
Yes.
Batman Returns stuck with the Burtonverse. I liked how they started to introduce 2 villains per movie.
And they handled them well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, with Batman's Rogues Gallery, you have to almost do this. It gets a bit too much towards the end here, but I really like the interpretation of Penguin.
Yes.
It is a bit campy when you go back and revisit it, but how I see it in my head, both great interpretations.
Oh, yeah.
Selena Kyle, Catwoman,
yeah.
fantastic as well.
Incredible, yeah.
And then the Riddler and Two-Face in Batman Forever. So 95.
Yeah.
I was 10 years old in 95.
Okay.
This was in my freaking wheelhouse.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Jim Carrey was
So
huge.
good.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. It was colorful.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was
Colors.
toyetic
Oh,
to
right.
the core.
That Batmobile
Yeah.
had like this electrolytes going on
Yeah.
inside of it. It was crazy. Chris O'Donnell's action figure, you dip his head in the water and his
Yes!
mask appears.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that
So
concept. And he had a
sick.
chest piece that came on and off. Love that figure.
First interpretation of Robin.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a 66 episode, because the colors in that were the best part.
Yeah.
It went neon. And It
Right?
was just something almost fantastical. It was like the contrast between, and it's supposed to be the same universe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we do have a switching of from Keaton to Val Kilmer as far
Yeah.
as Batman.
Yeah.
And we get Riddler. I
Riddler
love
and
Yeah.
Two-Face played by
Tommy Lee.
Tommy
Jones,
Lee,
Oscar-winning actor.
which was weird because I felt like we got like 2 weird hokey Riddlers. Like that wasn't Two-Face at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Well, there is a longer cut where it kind of explains Two-Face's origins a bit, and it has him in Arkham trying to break out and kill Batman. Fortunately, that cut has never been seen, so we want to start... I want to start a petition and get that released. They released the Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Cut. Let's get this cut out. I'd love to see a 3-hour version of Batman Forever.
That'd be pretty cool. But you know what? To be honest with this movie, it wasn't... Looking back at it now, it's kind of funny. Val Kilmer wasn't actually that bad of a Bruce Wayne.
No.
Yeah, he wasn't that bad. He was way better than George Clooney.
Yeah.
After doing that. And I didn't mind Jim Carrey's Riddler. for what it was.
Yeah.
For being Jim Carrey.
It was Jim Carrey as Riddler.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
There's nothing about that. That was Ace Ventura. That was all that time.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Rubber face, the mask,
Yes.
right? That's who he played. That's why they got him as the Riddler, to be this crazy ass dude, right?
That's right.
Going back and saying, like, if we were ever go back and review this, I would probably just tear the shit out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the way I think about it, the way I remember it as a kid, I really enjoyed this.
Yes.
It's one of those things that sometimes it's better to not go back and revisit things you saw as a child.
true.
Because in your mind you have them built up so much that going back you're only gonna face disappointment. Right?
Yeah.
That's right. And the soundtrack to this movie, I don't know if you guys remember, but U2 and Seal, they had 2 major hits on the soundtrack.
Yeah. Kiss
Awesome.
from a Rose.
Kiss from a Rose,
Yeah.
and YouTube had a really cool video too to go along with it.
nice.
So check it out.
That's awesome. And this movie made bank at the box office. I mean, Batman Returns kind of faltered because it was just too dark, I think, for general audiences.
Yeah.
But this one there, they lightened it up, and it was huge. The marketing tie-ins were insane. I remember getting the glasses from McDonald's.
I still have those.
Yeah.
I have one in a bin over there.
There you
Really?
go. I got the full set, I believe.
Which
still
one
in
did
place.
you get? Oh, okay, because I had the
I have the Riddler one.
The Riddler one, and I
Yeah.
had the Two-Face where the coin was the handle.
Yeah, they're shorter. Those ones are
Yeah.
shorter. I have the Batman. I have them all, but I have Batman and Robins, which are both the same size. They're
Nice.
taller. And then I had the Riddler, and I had
That's
Two-Face.
so cool, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, I mean, this movie was a huge hit. If you look back at the box office grosses, I think it's still a top 10 DC Comics grossing superhero movie. I mean, and it's been over 20 years, and they've released tons of movies, and this one still is...
Sure. Probably just the merchandise alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, the merchandise is probably half the battle for these box office giants. I mean, back in the 90s, the toys were insane.
Yeah. I think they came out just around Christmas time, too, or just before Christmas. So they got that toy market.
Smart.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
They must have made over $100-200 million in terms of toys, and home video sales must have been through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is coming off the back of the franchising aspect of Star Wars, even. Like, to
Yeah.
bring it back around to Star Wars, like, they showed how you can make money with action figures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was with merchandising, and that was exactly what they did here.
Yeah.
But the follow-up, it's almost killed the franchise.
Okay, I'm going to get on my high horse here. Batman and Robin, while it's a bad film, it is fun as hell.
It's hilarious.
You cannot tell me you won't crack a smile, you won't laugh, you can't take yourself too seriously when you're seeing this film. Unfortunately, we're expecting something a little bit more serious when this one came out.
It's bad. I remember there's a scene specifically where Batman literally does the Flintstones boom, where he slides down a dinosaur's tail
That's amazing.
and then jumps into Mr. Freeze.
That's face palm.
You know?
It's so awesome, though.
He had the Bat credit card.
Oh.
Yeah, and it expires forever.
Yeah. The Bat nipples.
Yeah.
The problem, I think, too, with this movie is that when you look back at Batman, a lot of his movies focus and are almost centered around the villains.
Yeah.
Right? This one had the weakest villains.
Oh,
Mr.
for sure.
Freeze, Bane, and Poison Ivy.
Nice to see you, Batman.
Oh, man. That was just, like, I think that's one of the main reasons, other than all of the other reasons. But it didn't have strong villains to hinge off of.
Missed opportunity, though, because if those villains were played well, it could have been the best Batman film. They have Mr. Freeze's tragic origin story,
Right.
Poison Ivy with her control of the plants and like her environmentalism, and if Bane was kind of like what we saw in The Dark Knight Rises, this could have been the Batman movie of the generation if it was done properly.
Yeah, it could have. They should have cut out Bane, though.
Yeah,
That's just too much. They should have drawn the line there.
There's too many, like, fantastical villains, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have Mr. Freeze, a guy that controls ice, a girl that controls plants, and then this wrestler dude. When you look back at the other villains in that series, they're somewhat grounded. Yeah, they are crazy, but you don't have that same, like, oh my god, this guy controls ice. This guy controls whatever, rainforest.
This guy just throws riddles out there.
Yeah.
And then the follow-up to this was supposed to be this Batman Unchained or Batman Triumphant.
Triumph, yeah.
And this was supposed to be Scarecrow, Nick Cage. It was supposed to be
Yeah.
that
Wow.
portraying.
Yeah.
And who's was George Clooney coming
I
back?
think Clooney
Yeah,
was
it's supposed to
coming
be
back.
supposed to that whole crew coming back, and Harley Quinn was supposed to be introduced in this.
Whoa.
Harley Quinn was supposed to be actually Joker's daughter. And so the storyline was going to be Batman gets hit by this fear toxin, and he thinks that the Joker is back. And then so it's the Joker, I think Scarecrow and Harley Quinn are in his nightmares, and then he has to like try and battle them out to get out. So it would have been an interesting film.
I would love to see that.
I would love to see them do like a comic book of that and just show us what it would have been like. Give us the storyboards and some of like the scenes.
Concept art.
Yeah, kind of like they did with Superman Lives with John Schnepp over at Collider Videos.
Yeah, Superman Lives.
The Death of Superman
Lives.
Lives.
What happened?
Yeah, that'd be cool if they did a Batman Triumph.
Yeah, she has a missed opportunity, actually, I think. But I guess the one bombed, right, beforehand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
George Clooney was hot then, too, right, coming off of ER.
Yeah.
He was like the man.
And Roseanne.
Always back to Roseanne.
He was in the first season of Roseanne. He plays Roseanne's boss and Jackie's boss at the factory.
Wow.
You guys never saw Roseanne?
Not really.
Nope.
Oh my goodness, guys. It is like top 5 sitcom. We're going to have an episode where we talk about nothing but classic sitcoms.
Yeah, if it wasn't on TGIF, I wasn't watching it back then.
Oh.
Me neither. If it didn't have a massive toy line,
Yeah.
not into
You
it.
didn't get the Roseanne toy and the Dan toy?
Ugh.
Speaking of lineups, Batman the Animated Series, one thing I want to touch on quickly, go back to it, was the lineup that it had on Fox in the morning, because Fox had control of all these shows. So it would have Batman, then
Batman
Spider-Man.
was on Fox Kids?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
Oh,
Spider-Man, and then X-Men.
Yeah.
And I remember one day, I still remember this, so the Batman episode was Bane, the Spider-Man episode was Carnage, and the X-Men episode was Apocalypse, all in the same
Nice.
day.
Wow.
It was, you could tell a lot of cereal was eaten that day by 8-year-old
man.
Sunjay.
And no homework was done.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. Just great. And that show actually played Bane, or did Bane justice compared to Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
I like to call Batman and Robin and Batman Forever kind of this neon noir where Gotham is this kind of like futuristic with neon everywhere. It's kind of like Blade Runner where they show like the city, I think it's Los Angeles, and it does look futuristic, the Schumacher Gotham. It'd be an interesting setting to go back to in a comic book or something, or someone to pay homage to those films. Because you see a lot of times comic book writers will pay homage to Batman 89. We had Scott Snyder when his run of Endgame, where Joker throws a parade. As kind of an homage to the 89 film.
That's right. Well, kind of going off, Batman Beyond kind of goes in off of the electric-looking city Gotham.
Oh,
It's
okay,
a very
yeah.
futuristic looking, kind of.
Yeah.
And then we saw a shift of the Batman films. So we had the flop of Batman and Robin in 1997, and then it wasn't until 2005, almost a decade later,
Wow.
that we had the reinvigoration of the Batman series by Christopher Nolan and his definitive trilogy of the Dark Knight trilogy, as it's now known as. And this was taking the Batman character back to this darker, very grounded, and they took very few liberties with kind of the superhero aspect of Batman. There wasn't that many fantastical elements. It was, this could happen in the real world. These villains were, mostly the mob in the first one. You did have some weird elements with the Ra's al Ghul and that. And then as you progress through the series, you get very grounded Bane and Joker. And I would have loved to see a Riddler in this universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really wanted that. And it's so rumored, right? That we're going to get DiCaprio as Riddler or somebody as Riddler in the next one. And I really wanted that.
Or James Gandolfini from Sopranos as Penguin.
Oh, yeah.
That was rumored for a while, too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because Penguin would have fit so well in that. It's just another mob boss maybe feuding with Maroni or something.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
This is a series that, we're not going to say much here because we could talk, for hours about this series. It's, like I said, it's definitive Batman. This is some of the best, if not the best trilogy of all time when it comes to comic book movies. And there's not much that I would change about this. A lot of people have and rag on about The Dark Knight Rises as not being that epic end to a trilogy that maybe The Dark Knight was asking for. But how do you top that movie? The Dark Knight sits as one of my favorite comic book movies of all time.
Definitely.
Near
This
perfect.
is, that's the only way you can describe it is perfection. There's not many little flaws. Like I said at the start there, that I don't really like that weird sonar scene. It kind of took me out of the movie. But the Joker is fantastic. And Leto was okay as the Joker. There was some weird stuff. We talked about that in our Suicide Squad review. And subsequently after that. But the Ledger Joker is the best villain I think that's ever been put on screen.
For a comic book movie, I would agree. There's, whenever you talk about best comic book movie villains, it's kind of like who's the best hockey player or who's the best basketball player. You take away Gretzky, you take away Jordan, so that way you can have some sort of debate. It's the same with Ledger and who's the best comic book villain. You take away Ledger, now you have a debate, now it's fun. You leave Ledger in, all three of us will probably say Ledger.
Exactly.
And it's the only Oscar win for a comic book movie not in a technical aspect. So they always win like special effects, maybe like a art direction or costume. But no, he actually won as an actor in Hollywood for a comic book movie, and the kind of hate that comic book movies get in Hollywood, and that just goes to show how great of a performance. It truly was.
Yeah. They get all the hate, but they prop up the whole industry.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
true. If comic book movies, if Hollywood just woke up tomorrow and said, you know what, comic book movies, we're not doing it. We'll do something else. It would be out of business in 5 years. So comic book movies, here to stay. But yeah, I mean, you talk about going back and watching the Burton films now, and it's been, 30 years about? Almost 30 years. And you see, sometimes they don't really age well, and some of them still, you go back and you're like, okay, I loved it as a kid, like Batman Forever, but now you probably wouldn't like it as much. I feel like these Nolan films in 30 years will be just as good, if not better, than they are today.
Oh, I agree. These things will live on forever. They'll hold up over time.
Yeah. I agree.
There's nothing really... There's not a lot of CG in it.
No.
It's a lot of practical effects. The grounded nature of it allows you to span generations.
Yeah.
And there wasn't so much of the technology in there, or even the cars in that are really going to date it.
Yeah.
No.
And I think that's one big element that you're going to take from this. And I agree that you're going to be able to watch these in 20 years and be like, was that made yesterday, or was that made 20 years ago?
Yeah.
There's not many films you could do that.
Definitely not.
When's the last time you guys have seen these films?
I watched them on Batman Day.
On Saturday?
Yeah. Part 2. Well, Dark Knight.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't mess with the third one. I don't count that a part of the trilogy.
We'll have a nerd debate, and I'll talk about how the third one is my favorite.
Wow.
Okay, I
Yeah.
look forward to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
Tim, how about you? When's the last time you popped these into the...
Maybe
old...
about 6 months ago. If Dark Knight is on TV, I'll sit and watch it.
Oh, yeah.
You have to.
Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises are the ones I like the best.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Begins is so good, but it's one I probably wouldn't if it was on TV. I'd be like, yeah, maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah.
And that's always my gauge for how much I like a movie. If it's on TV, if I'll sit and watch it.
Yeah.
So no matter what.
Yeah.
But,
I agree.
so the future for Batman looks pretty bright here. So we have the DC Cinematic Universe, which if you guys want to hear us talk about that, we talk about the reviews of Suicide Squad, the evolution of the series, Man of Steel in our second episode, I believe.
Yeah.
And we got the Batman vs. Superman review. So go back and check that out in our catalog. So we talk a lot in almost every episode leading into Batman
Batman v
vs.
Superman comes up every
A
episode.
lot. So there's a lot of talking there. So we're not really going to go through the current iteration of Batman here in this discussion. But when you're looking at Batman from the DC Cinematic Universe, from the readership as far as what came out of New 52 and Rebirth, are you guys excited with the direction that Batman is going, both cinematically and from a comic book perspective?
Comic book perspective, absolutely on board. If you guys have not checked out Batman All-Star, you got to do it. It's a team up of John Romita Jr. doing the art, and then you got obviously Scott Snyder doing the storyboard for this one, and it's just incredible. Mad Max meets Batman.
Yeah,
basically.
that's the best way
meets
to describe
24,
it.
even.
Yeah.
Really cool book.
That's encouraging to hear, because when we looked at the very first issue of Rebirth, I wasn't really sold on the Batman concept. That wasn't a really good introduction to Batman. So what you're saying now is it's got a lot better.
Yeah, so this is another one. So there's the Batman that you read, which is just Batman, which has gone a lot better too, actually.
Yeah.
That just wrapped up this story arc. Gotham, I believe. I Am Gotham.
Oh, yeah.
So that one's really cool too. David Finch is the artist, and Tom King is the writer, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But All-Star Batman is kind of a standalone. It's on its own world, set in the Rebirth world.
It's a monthly, too.
Yeah, it's a monthly, and it's gritty. Man, this is a great book, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Snyder's run, to me, is my Batman run. I started... This is the first Batman comic book I read, was Court of Owls.
Yes.
And because of Batman Day, it was actually 40% off the graphic novel at Indigo, so I ended up picking that up because... while I have the single issues, I'm not going to go back and reopen my Batman #1. So you got to get the graphic novels. And so I picked that up. And Snyder's run is just every story arc just does such a great job of introducing different Batman villains.
Different Batmans.
Yeah, different Batmans, different Joker stories. You had Joker, you had Mr. Freeze was in there, you had Clayface, you had the Court of Owls, so it gave us a brand new Batman villain.
Mr. Bloom was introduced when you had Commissioner Gordon take the role of Batman, and he's a great villain, right?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a villain who's a plant and he shoots spores at people, you'd be like, oh, that's so lame.
But when you see it in the comic book, damn.
Yeah.
Even the Calendar Man from the very first issue of Rebirth Batman, that was a cool interpretation.
Yeah.
Silly idea, sounds stupid on paper.
Yeah.
When you look at how they portrayed it in the comic book, I really enjoyed that aspect. That's probably my favorite part about that book.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because we never really got any Harvey Dent Two-Face throughout the whole New 52 one. So it's really cool going back now and reading All-Star Batman. He gets a chance to really dive deep with this character.
Yes.
Right? I might have to revisit that. I'm a big fan of Two-Face too.
Nice.
Yeah, and if you do like them revisiting and trying to go back to Batman's history, if you want to go back and read Grant Morrison's run from the 2000s, mid to late 2000s, it he goes back and tries to legitimize Batman from the 70s and all those like sci-fi stories. So he goes back and creates this other Batman where he has like this purple and yellow costume. And it goes back and tries to make sense of the whole sci-fi Batman from the 60s and 70s. So check it out. It's worth the read. I haven't read it yet, but Baron says it's pretty good, so that's good enough for me.
And if you want a really cool twist on it, pre-New 52 Batman, you can do, I think it's Scott Snyder, or maybe it is Grant Morrison. I think it's Grant Morrison, and he does Batman and Robin, but it's now Robin being played by Damian Wayans.
That's right.
Right, so Batman's son, and it's Dick Grayson under the cowl
of
Batman, and it's a really cool dynamic between these two characters.
Yeah,
check it out. I think it's about six trades you can get.
Yeah, I think it's called like Beyond the Black Mirror or something like that.
Yeah, that was a standalone of just Batman,
okay.
but the other ones are Batman and Robins. But
Nice.
They're all good. Yeah.
So one question I have for you guys, talking about the future of Batman and whatnot, we're going to see him appear in Justice League. So the first Justice League film, Batman's going to be one of the cornerstones, one of the creative juices or creative forces behind Justice League. Do you prefer a solo Batman or Batman in a team series?
For the cinematic verse?
Yeah, for the cinematic verse.
Standalone.
Yeah.
Unless he has a sidekick, that's cool, but nothing more. I don't really care much for him on the...
It's the idea of developing Batman in his own universe versus developing Batman as part of a bigger universe. So this is the first time we're seeing him integrated into a bigger cinematic universe outside of his own standalone universe. So it'll be interesting to see how he integrates with the larger crowd.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure talking Batman. Celebrating Batman Day here at the
Woo! Celebrate Batman. Woohoo!
So you guys can always catch us on Twitter. Our handle's at the end of the episode. You can get us at #EnterTheNerdRoom.
Yep.
Do not forget our new Star Wars Rebels postcast, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Star Wars
I like
Rebel Alert is dropping this coming Monday. So check us out on Twitter and make sure to check out that new podcast. So yeah, we got lots of cool stuff coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
We got First Friday next week. Really looking forward to
Joined
that.
by Izzy?
Izzy is coming.
Oh,
a few of the boys
there you go.
coming down to check it out. Sanjay, are you joining?
I might. We'll see. We'll see if you can.
can come.
If Troy buffs out C-3PO, I'll be there.
And there you have it. Anyways. All right, guys. For the Nerd Room, I'm Tim.
I'm Sunjay.
I'm Troy.
And thank you for entering the Nerd Room.
See this paper? It's like a Japanese door.
Get a digital version of something. Really want to know that I was a pen and paper.
Make me, you millennial.
I'm no millennial. We are out. Don't forget to subscribe and rate and review us on iTunes. You can find our hosts Tim, Sunjay, and Troy on Twitter at TheNerdRM, 1912 Podcasting, and Troy, the Boy, 87.